It's not getting it.
Today's topic, I thought long and hard, and it really actually took me a while to figure out what the topic was going to be. But then it hit me. I was watching something on TV, and I cannot remember exactly what it was. But what I was watching prompted me to this question. If you could revisit or completely avoid any time in American history, what would it be?
American history? Why can't it be world history?
American history.
Just because today is the 4th of July.
USA.
Okay,
USA.
Fine.
I wanted to keep on
America has been
thinking.
involved in just about everything that has to do with world history. So.
All right.
That's
So,
around it.
American history.
American history. Only because today is the 4th of July. I wanted to stick with American history. So I will start with Big Dave. It seems like you may already have been thinking about this question.
Of course I have been thinking about this. I think the most amazing part of our history had to be after we whooped the British asses and we were embarking upon our 13 colonies. And we realized that we were a country that was free, had been set up by our founders, and we had our free right to be who we are without over-taxation and over-regulation and all the things that the British were whooping on us at the time. And to finally realize what we were and to be that fresh in it and have the 13 colonies and elect our Congress and elect our first president and go through that period of time and the absolute amazing thing that it had to be that created this wonderful country that we live in now. And, you know, a lot of us have been overseas many times. Any of us have been overseas, come back to the United States with a greater appreciation every time. Absolutely. And, you know, it just had to be one of the most amazing times in our history to realize what God had bestowed upon us and what we had bestowed upon ourselves and our founders and their wisdom. You go back and read their quotes, you know, especially quotes from Thomas Jefferson in particular. I mean, these were amazing, amazing people.
You're here.
And they had just this amazing vision of what they could do and what we could create. And then you look, you know, we're such a young country compared to so many other countries. And you look at what we are, and it is stunning in the world of what we are.
Here.
Hey, next up.
Speaking of next up,
Let's go with Franny.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to the front
Let's
of the boat.
go to one of our newer.
Throw you right under the bus.
Yeah, throw me under the bus. No, so I would just say, I guess, any conflict or war that America has participated in, I fully support because of all the troops that have participated and their families that have made sometimes ultimate sacrifices. So I fully support, you know, anything that our country has chosen to be involved in because of the men and women who have
Any
serve that
particular conflict that you would want to go back to that time period?
No, I just think all of them. I mean, there's.
Why does our history have to be about conflict? We've done some pretty good things that have been peaceful.
But you
That's
look at
true.
World War II and that generation that came out of it.
Sure.
And what they did to come back and rebuild America, what we did to go and rebuild
true.
Germany and Japan. I mean, that's amazing, amazing stuff that they did.
Yeah.
We got too far away from it.
Dave? Big Teeman, let's say.
That's right. There's Big Dave here also. You know, I think one of the saddest times of our history which was also a great time in our history because of what it was fought about. But I always look at the Civil War as being this unbelievable, terrible incident. We lost more American lives.
Unbelievable how many people died.
And I mean, it was the number
900,000 or something like that.
700,000.
I think it was 900,000.
It was 10% of the American population at the time.
And
Jesus.
It's sad that it had to happen, but it did have to happen. And what came out of it is taking us,
There you go.
another 150 years for it to even really start to maturate to where it's a land of equality. So, but that's what we stand for, is a land of equality, and we do welcome everybody, and I like that. I like the diversity of our cultures and the people that are here, and the fact that it's pretty much open arms, and when I say open arms, I mean open arms like welcome, not open arms. I'm going to sit on my front porch and shoot you. It's pretty amazing that whole incident happened. It's sad, but it was needed. So that's about all I've got to say.
The anonymous female, you've been quiet up front.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if there's a time in history I'd want to go back to.
60s.
Any you want to avoid at any cost?
I mean, I think you can look at a lot of them. I mean, you know, when they decided to basically wipe out Native Americans, or they decided to segregate the country. You know, I mean, there's so many that it really is kind of amazing how it's just such polar opposites of such good things and such bad things coming out of, you know, just the birth and growth of this nation.
Yep. We talk about how our nation is amazing, yet we stifled so many cultures in the process. Talking about the Native American community and the black community and how much we hurt those communities throughout history. It's deplorable, but, you know, here we are. So how do we go back and say, I want to live here. I want to deal with that.
Which is why I threw in the go back to or avoid, because I do think that there are times in American history that, you know, I think, you know, going back to the time of like the Harlem Renaissance, and I think that would be an amazing time to be an American, to be actually, you know, to be a northern black person. You know, I think just the amount of you know, intellectual enlightenment, and you know, the birth of jazz, and it was so much going on around that time that I think that would be an interesting time to go back to, and I've always kind of been fascinated with just the look of that period of time, you know, the look of the 20s and 30s and 40s. And
I think Kansas City in the 30s would have been amazing to see.
Yeah, it would have been been a cool time to be in. Of course, you know, I would want to avoid at all costs, you know, as everybody has said, the horrific time of American slavery. I think that, you know, when you go back and you know, if you think of, you know, when you think of time, you know, I know it was a blip in history, but you know, it
was a pretty long blip.
But you know, I'm gonna say in the grand scheme of time, you know, I know it's a blip in history, but you know, I remember the anonymous female and we were starting to try to go back and look at our genealogies, and I just wasn't ready. You know, I just. And of course, we're this many generations removed from it. But I know at a certain point, my family tree hits a certain branch. And, you know, and I just didn't want to see that branch, you know. But I knew for the sake and sense of, you know, kind of catharsis and healing and everything else, that I had to go back and deal with that, you know, with that branch. And we never really got a chance to dig deeper than that and go back further. You know, it would have cost a lot of time and a lot of money, because the way you have to search the records are vastly different, you know, than once you hit certain, you know, kind of roadblocks. But I do remember, you know, we found out that, you know, a lot of people have always said that, you know, I think you must have Indian in your family. And I was like, what? You know, we're regular American black. I don't know what you're talking about.
Buffalo soldiers.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, you know, I find out that my grandmother on my birth father's side was actually born on the Indian reservation in Oklahoma. And my great-grandfather was at least half Indian. And I didn't know. I never knew either one of those. So it was a very cool thing to discover. And so as much as I wanted to avoid that time in our history, I realized that, for me to be, hosting a podcast with different, ages and different ethnicities and different genders, and we're all on a boat together enjoying
This is a
the day.
microcosm of America right here.
But you should be proud, Rio, of what your family has overcome to get where you are today.
Oh, very proud. Very proud.
That's the difference, is that from oppression you gain strength and you learn to overcome things and be a survivor. And then you learn to succeed in that survivorness. And that's the coolest thing about America, is that if you have the desire to succeed, despite all the bad things and things that are thrown in front of you, you can do it here over time.
Amen.
It takes time to heal, but time does heal.
Amen.
Who's next?
Lane? What?
I would pick up a rifle and join the line at the Bloody Angle at Gettysburg. This is where the 69th New York, which was nothing but immigrants who literally landed 2 months prior. A lot of people don't realize. So the Bloody Angle was where Pickett's charge focused its fury. All the artillery of the Confederacy concentrated on this one position. Had that regiment broke, the Civil War would have been won by the South. But they held. Guys who weren't even citizens of the United States yet.
Yeah.
Right. That literally stopped them dead in their tracks.
So, and that, when I think back to points in history, I do think that yes, there have been horrible things that have happened.
Right.
But I also think about all of the good people who fought for. I think when I think back to
This was a mixed race regiment.
Exactly, and that's what I mean.
Half blacks from New York, half Irish, and a few Germans.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm like, there was, at a certain point, there are people who just know right is right and wrong is wrong, and they're willing to fight for right, even though, like I say, they don't even have citizenship yet.
Well, it was amazing how many blacks fought in the Civil War.
54th Massachusetts.
Fought for their own freedoms.
Yeah.
And, that was, you go back and look at the history. My brother-in-law's excellent at it, and he's really taught me a lot of things about it. But, wow. How cool was that?
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Sean?
Yeah, so I'm glad you narrowed it down to American history, because my head started going to all points of history.
Right.
Dude, there's no way you can pick one. Come on. So I think I'll take the obvious one, the founding of the nation. I would like to start, though, with Samuel Adams and the Sons of Liberty in Massachusetts, just kind of being basically a bunch of rebel rousers and a real thorn in the side of the British Empire, which kind of helped spawn the whole entire thing, kind of start it all off, and then go from there. Kind of some real hard parts of it, like Valley Forge.
Yeah.
Kind of go through that and kind of just witness a lot of that. My fifth great-grandfather actually fought.
Oh, wow.
Was stationed in Valley Forge, fought in Brandywine and a lot of those. So.
Brandywine Creek.
George Washington sees of Boston when they didn't have any powder, and they went to Duxbury, was it Dorchester Hill?
Yeah.
And they set up the cannons.
Yep.
Said about.
And General Hale looked at it and went, "Crap, we're in deep shit."
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of seeing all the different things that they had to do in order to win, and the also being able to find the guys who actually were part of the Culper Spiring that really helped kept figure out that Benedict Arnold was a traitor and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's such a unique piece of history, because it's like the start of where we get a lot of the covert operations that we do nowadays, as far as some of the spy stuff that we started figuring out how to manage that and how to create the infrastructure from which we use that. I mean, it's so brilliant.